In Russian folk belief, there is the plague woman, the spirit of plague. She walks the streets at night in white. Sometimes she knocks on doors. If someone opens, the entire family will be dead by dawn. Sometimes she waves her white sleeve over the city. Where the shadow falls, plague begins the next day. In the summer of 1771, Muscovites saw her in the streets. Several people swore they saw her with their own eyes. Maybe they saw her. Maybe it was just a woman going to bury her own. In Moscow of 1771, the difference was small. Russia was at war with the Ottoman Empire. The army marched through Moldavia and Wallachia, regions where plague was almost a domestic phenomenon. No one thought they were bringing it home. In 1770, the first cases appeared in military hospitals. That same year, in Moscow, in textile factories, cloth from the south, bales, wagons, the hands that unpacked them. The authorities classified the information. Panic, they believed, was more dangerous than the disease. They were wrong. The Great Cloth Yard. Several thousand workers inside one building. They sleep in piles. They eat from shared cauldrons. An ideal environment for plague. By February 1771, several bodies were being taken out each day. Officially, fever. Everyone understood what it was. Dr. Shafonsky wrote a report to the governor. It is plague. Quarantine is required. He was told to stay silent. He wrote again. He was told to stay silent again. He did not write a third report. He understood. He was writing into emptiness. The looms kept working. Physician Mikhail Shirovsky, just over 20 years old. No connections, no patrons, no authority to declare quarantine. No power, only what he saw with his own eyes. He began doing what he could. He isolated the sick in his ward. He burned the clothing of the dead. He washed his hands with vinegar. It worked, though no one yet knew why. His colleagues looked at him as an eccentric, his superiors as a source of panic. The patients looked at him with hope. That was the hardest of the three reactions, because hope does not always come true. March, 100 people a day. April, 200. May, 100 again. June, 400. July, 500. August, 1,000 a day. 1/3 of these deaths were officially recorded as fever. Mass burials could not keep up. Bodies lay in the streets, at gates, in gardens. The summer of 1771 was warm. Warmth helped the disease. The priests held prayer services. Townspeople went out in processions, with icons, with singing, shoulder to shoulder, face to face. A religious procession with singing and close standing is an ideal mechanism for the spread of pneumonic plague. Each breath of a singer is a cloud of bacteria in the face of the person standing nearby. The authorities banned the processions. People went out again. They prayed for salvation. And they died within 2 days, on the way home from prayer services, bringing the infection to those who prayed at home. At the barbaric gate stood the revered icon of the Bogolyubskaya, Mother of God. A rumor spread. The icon protects against plague. Thousands gathered around it. They stood for hours. They pressed themselves to the image. They breathed into each other's faces. Archbishop Ambrose understood. If this was not stopped, the icon would become a pump, carrying the plague from one end of the city to the other. He ordered the icon to be removed. To remove a revered image during a plague in the eyes of the people was equivalent to opening the gates to the plague woman herself. He knew it. He gave the order anyway. September 15th, 1771. The toxin. Thousands of people rushed to the Chudov monastery. The gates were broken down. Ambrose was found in the church, behind the altar. Voice becomes quieter, each word precise. The crowd dragged him into the courtyard and killed him, right there. Then they destroyed the plague barracks, releasing all the infected into the streets. The riot lasted 3 days. The city burned in several places. Ambrose was right about the icon. It did not save him. Being right rarely saves anyone. Orlov, Catherine II's favorite, personally rode into the rebellious Moscow with a small detachment, no artillery. He did not use force. He handed out money and food. He spoke to the people. And he promised quarantine, a real one this time. The riot stopped in 2 days, not because it was crushed. Because people were given bread and told the truth. Bread and truth, sometimes that is enough, sometimes. Shirovsky wrote in his diary, "I saw a house today on Pyatnitskaya Street. 8 people in the family. Only a 7-year-old girl survived. She was sitting next to her mother and did not understand that she was dead. She was feeding her bread." He did not write what happened next, what he said to the girl, what she answered. He simply recorded what he saw and went to the next house. November 1771. Mortality began to decline, not because a cure was found, there was none, because quarantine worked, because the frost came. Pneumonic plague does not survive cold well, and because those who could die had already died. By December, 40 deaths a day. By January, fewer than 10. By spring, single cases. The Great Plague of Moscow was over. The official figure, about 100,000 dead. The real number, according to historians, possibly more. 1/3 of Moscow's population. Shirovsky received a medal for his work and a small monetary reward. This was fair, in the only sense in which fairness can be spoken of at all in relation to what he had seen. He continued working as a city physician. He lived into the 1800s. There is little in his diaries. He was a man of action, not of words. One entry, December 1771. "Today I saw the first recovered child, running in the courtyard, the first in several months to run simply because their legs carried them." Ambrose was right. The icon was a source of infection. It needed to be removed. He knew what would follow. He gave the order anyway. Those who killed him were not villains either. They had lost their families. They were in terror. They did not understand. Plague kills not only bodies, it kills the space in which understanding is possible. It kills the time needed for explanation. It leaves only fear. And fear does what fear does. The barbaric gate was demolished in 1812. Napoleon ordered the fortifications dismantled. The Bogolyubskaya Mother of God icon survived. It survived the plague of 1771. It survived Napoleon. It survived the revolution, Soviet power. It is in a Moscow museum, behind glass. Thousands of people pressed their lips to it in 1771, believing it would save them. It did not. Most of them. It remained. In Russian folklore, the plague woman does not die. She returns to where she came from. Empty fields, frozen rivers, winter fog. She is not defeated, she is simply outlived. Those who survived, survived. Those who died, died. This is not victory. This is simply how the world is. She will return again. Do not ask when. Do not open the door.